Cody Rhodes has taken aim at The Rock here as we continued the drama leading towards WrestleMania 40. Cody sent a warning to The Rock on this week's edition of Raw, and we continue our Raw review with thoughts on what Cody had to say. And we sort of expected this, right? I mean, we came into this thinking that Cody Rhodes was going to respond to The Rock in some way, shape, or form. We saw kind of how everything played out on SmackDown, where you had Triple H reasserting sort of his authority. And you guys know, if you've watched the channel here before, I've talked about thinking that this is going to be the power struggle between Triple H and The Rock. Then we got the announcement that The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to appear next week on SmackDown. So you knew there was going to be something from Cody here, right? Because Cody's the Raw superstar. And you had to have a response from Cody after getting slapped by The Rock. You couldn't just leave it hanging. You had to get something here from Cody. And so I thought Cody comes out, and I thought cut a really good promo here, making it very clear, because the one thing I think that's always interesting, and if you guys, look, if you watched AEW, we're not going to turn this into a whole WWE versus AEW thing, but, one of the knocks on Cody there kind of was that, when he was a babyface, he had the pairing with Arn Anderson, right? Where Arn Anderson was managing him and sort of just telling Cody that he's got to step up and sort of fight for himself at some point. And you kind of got a little bit of that response after The Rock slapped him, but you didn't get any physicality, that kind of stuff. But here you kind of got the strong message I think you needed to hear from Cody following the slap, right? I mean, that's what you got to term it, the slap, because he had to do something here. He had to be able to respond and basically say exactly what it did. Cody saying, here as I'm looking at it, sure, like talking about how if The Rock hits him, he's got to hit back, basically. And so he's got to come hit The Rock back, which only does what? It only further teases what we already think, and that is that we are going to get some sort of match involving Cody Rhodes and The Rock, but we also know that it's probably going to be the tag team match with The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, because we did have Seth Rollins as part of this segment as well, and I thought the line was great from Seth Rollins, talking about the only person, or no better person, sort of suited to be the shield for Cody than Seth Rollins. So they really are leaning into that WrestleMania 40 tag team match. We talked about it in a previous video here on the channel, reacting to the WrestleMania 40 teaser trailer, which dropped on Super Bowl Sunday. And really, they led you exactly in the path that they then led you on Raw, and that is really pushing the idea that we are going to get that night one tag team match with The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody and Seth. And so I think Cody's response here was one that you sort of expected. Started off a little bit nonchalant, bringing up the stuff about, Pat McAfee's show and everything The Rock said about the crybabies and the chicken nuggets. And Cody's, asking Pat, which poor Pat, just in the awkward situation, right, of having to be the announcer here. And Pat talking about how, hey, I think he said he wanted you to stick them up your ass. And, Cody's asking all these questions and everything. But I thought that was kind of the start of the promo. But then it kicked up a notch, right? It got serious. Cody really went into sort of the fact about, talking about all the things and everything that sort of led to the skirmish that we had at the WrestleMania 40 kickoff event. And then you had Seth Rollins come out, and Rollins sort of talking about really pushing how Cody must finish the story. And I thought this was another really good aspect of the promo here on Raw about how Cody has to finish the story because everyone needs him to finish the story. It's not just Cody who feels like he has to finish it. It's everyone. It's Rollins. It's the fans, because of sort of that power dynamic. And I thought Rollins did a good job sort of bringing up what happens if Roman Reigns beats Cody Rhodes again. What happens to the power dynamic in WWE? And again, they're playing into this here clearly with Seth Rollins' phrasing of everything. Cody, kind of bringing up different elements of that. But when you tie it all together, it's Rollins saying, hey, how much more power are we going to give The Rock and Roman Reigns and, the bloodline and everything? Because if Reigns wins, that essentially means that glass ceiling, as Rollins phrased it, gets thicker. He starts appearing even less now. If fans were pissed off already about Roman Reigns not defending the title, frequently, it's going to get even worse, because that just gives him another notch on the belt, right? Beating Cody yet again for a second straight year and continuing this long reign as the champion. Cody not sort of taking back the power for the people here. And so I thought Rollins was fantastic in the storyline. I mean, look, the story is that is Cody responding to The Rock. But I thought I thought Rollins was tremendous here. in terms of how he sort of tied everything back to the fact that Cody and Seth have to come together somehow. And I thought Rollins did a tremendous job of making it very clear why they have to come together, why this is, as he phrased it, the last chance. Like, this may be it for someone to take away this championship from Roman Reigns. And so, Rollins kind of pushing Cody even further in the direction of knowing that, look, man, even if there's part of you that feels like you're just going to sit back and go into this without a plan, you got to have a plan. And you got to go into this, sort of as the aggressor here. And that's where Cody brings up sort of the fighting back at The Rock and all those other things. So, I thought this was really good stuff between these two. It's really, kind of the starting point of Cody addressing everything that he needed to address with The Rock, bringing up the Cody crybabies and all this other stuff. Like, Cody can't sit back and take that. He's got to step up. He's got to say something. And I think that, bringing up the fact that The Rock sort of didn't listen about how Cody didn't really take aim at The Rock's family. This was essentially about Cody and Reigns. Then it became about Cody and The Rock after the slap. And so, it's just all this is doing, in my opinion now, is this is sort of driving the fact that it is very clear that Cody Rhodes is now in a position where you have him interacting with all these different people. This isn't just Cody and Reigns anymore, as Rollins pointed out. It's Cody, Reigns, and The Rock. And it's also Rollins tied into it as well. And when you think about kind of everybody they have surrounding Cody right now, and all the different kind of webs that you've tied with these stories over the years, not just in the past week or two, right? It's just over the past, year or so with Cody and Reigns, but then you can go even further with Rollins and Reigns and all that. And I thought that was a nice touch too about how Rollins said, hey, I may have created this monster. When you think about everything that they created in the Shield, and as we know, it was also Rollins as the one who turned on Reigns and maybe sent him down down this path that he's been on, becoming the tribal chief, becoming the head of the table, all those things. And so, this is quite a setup. And I've said before, guys, if you look back at it, I was very adamant. I'm like, I don't think this was the plan from the start. But I will say, if they have pivoted into this and kind of what they've gotten to now, as we get ready for the setup now on SmackDown, where you have The Rock and Roman Reigns who are going to respond to Cody and Rollins because, they're making their return, and now it's all set up perfectly to get us even closer to that tag team match. And then do we get something else regarding, The Rock playing into the finish of Night 2's main event between Cody and Roman Reigns, which I think is absolutely going to happen. We just don't know which way it's going to be. Is The Rock going to turn on Roman Reigns? Is The Rock going to cost Cody from finishing the story? Do we continue this on even further? I think, the better money is probably The Rock maybe turns and you get kind of that official setup for WrestleMania 41. You do Rock and Roman there, or you do Rock and Roman at SummerSlam. But that's kind of beside the point, because it really is, you don't just have Cody dealing with Roman Reigns anymore. You have him dealing with what he said, the biggest box office attraction. You've got him one of the biggest superstars in the entire world, not just WWE universe, right? Like it's the whole world here. And having Cody interact with him and having The Rock play the heel role, if this was the pivot, I don't think you could have done it much better. Sure, there may be some story holes and all that kind of stuff getting here, but I think you'll take this because it has lit a fire under Cody from a character standpoint. Cody is, it's lit a fire under him now, right? It wasn't just finishing the story. Now it's like you've even got someone going as far as to say that, that their family's more important than your family, like more important than Dusty Rhodes, like all this other stuff. And so you're adding The Rock to the mix. You're adding all this extra star power. It just makes it, to where the stakes have been raised even more. So, I thought it was a great promo from Cody. I thought Rollins, may have been kind of the star of the segment in terms of everything that he added to the mix to really push the idea that we are getting to this tag team match between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins against The Rock and Roman Reigns. So let me know what you guys thought of that particular promo segment on Raw. And what do you see as sort of the response from The Rock and Roman Reigns? What are they going to say on SmackDown on Friday? It should be must-see TV as we see how they respond to what we saw from Cody and Rollins. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching here at Wrestling Reaction.